Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is your boy Chosen and welcome to a pretty important discussion video. Today we are directly following off of chapter 54 and discussing what in all hell happened to Naruto Uzumaki. Obviously I don't have the actual answer to this, but I'll do my best to give some insight to you all and back up my predictions as best as I can. Okay, so in Boruto Chapter 54, during the Sasuke and Kawaki vs Boruto battle, Naruto seemingly passed out due to, I guess, his body being extremely fatigued after his battle with Ishiki. The thing here is, normally I'd say there's no way for us to know what happened until the next chapter, but honestly I think part of the answer was actually right in front of us. So after Boruto regains consciousness and apologizes to Kawaki, yes everyone, you heard me say it right, not Sasuke, Kawaki.
Sasuke is...
What's the matter, Karin?
Sasuke is really gonna, at this rate, die!
Oh no! Anyway, last week...
Sasuke, after taking a breather, notices Naruto knocked out at a distance. As he's heading over to Naruto and finally gets close to him, he notices something off, and that's the cliffhanger we get for this chapter. So in my chapter review, I said that it seems like Naruto is going to be written off very soon due to the simple fact that Kodachi heavily hinted the return of Kakashi in the story, and when you tie that into what Boruto said in chapter 1 about Naruto not only being part of his story for the beginning portion, and with what just happened to Naruto this chapter, it really does seem to hint that Naruto could be dying or already dead. The thing with this though, from what I've heard, is that Kishimoto loves to troll his audience. So somehow, even if all these hints literally add up, I wouldn't be surprised if a different scenario occurs to where Naruto doesn't die. And to be honest, I think part of the truth to what really happened to Naruto was revealed to us in secret with the last page of this chapter. So I'm sure most of you know this, but with Naruto and Sasuke both gaining 6th path chakra, receiving them both by Hagoromo, Naruto and Sasuke are essentially in a way linked. What I mean by that is Naruto and Sasuke are able to sense each other through what I assume is their chakra, even dimensions away. If I'm not mistaken, Zetsu stated that yin and yang resonate through each other, and we know this is a thing because it's happened twice from what I can remember. The first time was an unsuccessful link between the two when Kaguya separated Sasuke from the group and left him in the middle of nowhere. After a few moments, Sasuke stated that he traveled to a certain spot in that dimension because he thought he sensed Naruto's chakra, not Kakashi or even Kaguya's, just Naruto's. The second time Sasuke was able to sense Naruto's chakra was when he was kidnapped by Momoshiki and Kinshiki in another dimension. And for anyone who doesn't agree with this logic and tries to argue that this is just an overpowered sensing ability that can be used to find anyone, well, in episode 22 of Boruto, after Sakura sacrifices herself to save Sarada, Naruto attempts to find her using Sage Mode's sensing ability and still couldn't locate her. Yet again, Sasuke was able to locate and check out Naruto's condition dimensions away. So yes, I'm most likely sure Naruto and Sasuke are both able to sense each other through their 6th path chakra, which also adds another point on how these two still possess the chakra that Hagoromo gave them, even if it's not the full thing. If you honestly still believe in 2021 that neither of these two possess 6th path after the Great War, you just gotta be stubborn at this point, like to not admit it. So how does this tie into what happened in the last page of chapter 54? Well, as Sasuke is making his way to Naruto and out of nowhere gets caught by surprise, I think the reason Sasuke was so shocked was due to the fact that he couldn't read Naruto's chakra at all, possibly hinting at the fact that Naruto could have just lost his 6th path chakra and maybe the ability to even link with Kuruma in general. Like I predicted this entire month prior to this chapter, I've stated that if Naruto does end up surviving, there's no way in hell he's just gonna overcome all the side effects. The sacrifice for using Baryon mode will be a great one. The only other thing that could make sense is if Sasuke was checking Naruto's pulse, which I'm pretty sure he wasn't. I know in the chapter review I did say I'm more on the side of Naruto dying than surviving, but then I realized who's now actually writing the show, and that again is Kishimoto, who likes to troll with his audience. Call it wishful thinking, but honestly I think this can go either way, because with both sides it makes sense. In the case that Naruto dies, Kakashi takes over as Kage again, which Kodachi did mention Kakashi returning to a more relevant role in the plot, which might I also say is very reminiscing to what happened between Lord 4th and Lord 3rd. What Boruto said in chapter 1 gets explained, and we finally start entering the dark phase of Boruto. On the other side, with Naruto and Sasuke both taking heavy nerfs, the next generation is finally put in a position to where they need to step up. Actually, not just them, but the entire shinobi world. Two of the strongest shinobis who basically could take on the entire 5 nations by themselves are now both at a position to where they can't even handle the Uzumaki. I mean, I can make the case that Sasuke could be the strongest shinobi at this point, but there's many things to factor in because you have characters like Lee and how far he can go with the gates. Gaara, someone who completely counters Sasuke's MS abilities with his sand. But honestly, that's not important because one-on-one, despite how strong Sasuke is as of now, I really doubt he's at the point to where he can handle super tough threats like that anymore. And I think now more than ever, especially with the time skip approaching, approaching, Sasuke might have to really be more aggressive on training Boruto to perfect his abilities. Not just this, but to also learn how Boruto can control Momoshiki within. And what better person to gather information on vessels than Orochimaru himself? And as far as the actual mark on his palm, something that looks very similar to the 100 healing mark, Tsunade herself might also make a relevant appearance back to the story. I'm going to make a video on this, but I think the legendary Sannin will make an appearance again in the story counting Kakashi. With Kakashi, who was mentioned by the writer himself, Tsunade because of her knowledge of the 100 healing mark, which was hinted at when they went over to Asakura about it, Orochimaru, who is not only the most knowledgeable shinobi when it comes to vessels, but also his hidden connection to Toneri and Mitsuki's true purpose, that is also in a way connected to Boruto, which I already made a video about if you're interested. And the last character is Kashin Koji, the Jiraiya clone who we know is still alive. Another claim I want to bring up that some people left in my comments in the chapter review is that instead of Naruto dying, it's Kuruma. And to be honest, I highly doubt that if Kuruma does die, Naruto won't either. Remember, Baryon mode is created by Naruto and Kuruma, both sharing their life source to produce a new type of energy. I mean, it's no debate that on their own, Kuruma is way more durable than Naruto. If any of the two were to die here, to be honest, it'd 100% be more likely to be Naruto. The only way I can see Kuruma dying in this case is if he sacrifices himself to save Naruto by maybe giving his remaining life source to him, which I guess is a possibility, but that's completely up to Kishimoto. Like I said, there are good points on both sides determining the fate of Naruto, so either way it could make sense, despite how many people really don't want Naruto to die. The last thing I want to point out, which is probably a low possibility, but even if it has a small chance, I'm always going to point out, and that's Naruto accepting modifying parts to his body in order to keep him alive. And even though it sounds crazy, well, just like what's going on in the anime right now, Naruto has already accepted a modifying ninja tech to his right arm. Don't forget the whole reason for Boruto visiting the facility that Sumire was at was to fix up the arm which was planned to be used for Naruto in combat. So technically speaking, had it not been for Kawaki, Naruto would have been using that right arm to this day. He basically came to terms already in using this arm against higher threats. So if it comes to the point where Naruto's life is in the hands of scientists like Amato, why would this be any different? I mean, look at the times. Almost everything in Naruto is technology based. The smoke bomb Sasuke gave to Kawaki is a ninja tech, for goodness sake. I know again it's a low possibility, but it definitely could happen. He did it once, so why would it be that different if he did it again? Especially to save his life. And that, ladies and gents, is all for today's video. Let me know what you think the fate of Naruto is. Do you think he will die? And how likely do you think Naruto will accept modifying parts to his body if it comes to it? So many questions, but of course all we can do for this video is predict. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way until the end, and I'll catch you on the next one.